day, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you on this edition of Let's Talk Networking. I'm Terilee Harrison, and as you know, I am passionate about helping coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs network in the most dynamic and lucrative way. Nothing I love more than to be chatting with a fellow lover of networking who's also passionate about helping business owners. So, Paul Rose, what a pleasure to be with you today.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Let me introduce you all to Paul. If you've not met him yet, he's coming to us from the UK, if you can tell, even by that brief comment that he made. And if not, you'll know very quickly. He is a voiceover and presentation coach. He's the voice of thousands of stores and offices' phone systems, the voice of numerous characters on TV and film, a coach of thousands of people looking to become more effective and engaging presenters. So, Paul, welcome. So happy you're here.
I'm very happy to be here. I know the accent could be a clue as to where I'm from, not necessarily where I am. Much like you.
That's true, right? Do I sound like a Singaporean? No.
You really don't. No. I don't think anyone would make that mistake. But yes, I am in London. I'm still here.
Okay, there we go. Well, you know what I love about you is that you're always networking. So I love networking. I know you do too. And I know you get out. And these days you're doing some face-to-face networking, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's back in a big way in the UK. It has been for a few months now, and it is delightful. There are still a number of networking groups that choose to remain completely virtual. Others that go for what they call a hybrid, which is if they're meeting every week, maybe it's 1 week face to face and then 3 weeks virtual. But you know what? You try and compare like for like. There's no substitute for face-to-face, unless of course it's global like this. It's that's the wonderful thing about Zoom, of course, is that the opportunity, and certainly as a member of your organisation, I'm meeting people around the world, all in the one room, without the cost of an airline ticket. Fantastic, love that.
It's hard to beat that. Isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So in your networking travels, let's help some of the people that are watching today. If you were to say, like some of the top things that you see people do, and that you know that you have some solutions for them to help them, because no one teaches this networking in school. I know you'll agree. I'm sure you're passionate about this as well. Here, all the things they should teach us in school and all the things they do teach us, and while building relationships and even referral networking, just networking in general, no one teaches us this, right? So if you were to pick out just a couple of things that stick out to you that a lot of people do and that you have a solution for, and that you could share the solution, what comes to mind? What comes to mind that you see?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right that no one teaches it, and certainly even the leading organisations, and I'm not going to name any company names this morning apart from V-Team, because it's yours, no one else gets endorsement today, is that they will lay claim to the fact that they are teaching their members, but in many cases they're providing, they call them training courses, but I'm being incredibly generous with the term. They're a box-ticking exercise designed to actually make sure that people remain in the network. They are very self-serving. And for me, I think that the one thing they try and indoctrinate people to understand, and it does work. They have a different phrase for it, but I certainly believe in the rule of reciprocity, in that I think a lot of people will come into a network with the sole purpose initially of selling their stuff. And that makes complete sense. You don't join a network to go and buy things from other people at hopefully mates rates. You go because you actually believe that this is a marketing exercise designed to grow your business. So you go in there and you pitch, and no one wants to listen. But of course they don't, because everyone is in selling mode. No one is in buying mode. And yet the organizations don't tell you that what you should be doing in your presentations, even in your one-to-ones, is focusing on educating your fellow members. Selling to them simply won't work. Yes, there will be people in the room who may want to buy something from you, but that is a very, very short-term view. Much better that you educate these people and train them in becoming your sales force, so that when they're having those conversations in their other networks and in their daily lives, they think, oh, Terilee was talking about that. You must have a conversation with her. And to truly define how a referral works. It's one of the things I love about V-Team is that they changed the definition slightly, and that a lot of people think of a referral is, I'm going to introduce you to John, he wants to buy your stuff. as opposed to a B team saying, I'm going to introduce you to John. I think he could be a good power partner for you, a good means to actually grow your business. Maybe just someone to have a good conversation with because I like the way he thinks, whatever it might be. That the definition of a referral, it needs to be adapted so that people appreciate that networking is a long-term game, and that they actually will put in as much as they need to in order to get out what they want. It doesn't work one way. It has to be both ways. That's the most important thing I would take away from networking. Before we talk about presenting, just networking. That for me is
that's so good. That is so good. So I was doing some training today, and I was talking about how many people out there in networking wing it. And when you wing it, you get wing it results, right? And then they say, networking doesn't work for me. Or they'll even go so far as to say that group doesn't work for me, right? This doesn't work for me, networking. And they haven't really put any thought into it. And so what say you about that?
It's such a common problem, in that when networking doesn't work for people, and in some cases it won't, no one inwardly reflects on that. They will blame either the organization or the concept of networking, which is ironic because they'll go and try another network. So about that. But the problem is that, and it certainly is, it's a problem in the UK, and I don't know if it's as much of a problem around the world, but I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on this. Networkers are really polite, really, really, really nice people. And if they actually see someone doing it, in huge inverted commas, wrong, they will talk about that person behind their back, or they won't. They will talk in the membership committee about how this person should be doing better, or their statistics need improvement. They might even pull them aside and say, you need to do something about this. But true mentoring? No. Mentoring in terms of what the network expects of you, sure, that does exist in these organizations. There are mentoring programs, fine. But ultimately, these people come in with this short-term view, they do it wrong. And then what people tend to think is, well, you know what? I could spend a few minutes advising that person on how to be a better member, but they're probably going to quit in 3 months anyway. Waste of time. That is a huge, huge mistake. Because can you imagine for a moment, and I'm going to use you as an example because it would be ridiculous to think of you as a bad networker. But let's say, for example, you were in my chapter, and I thought that you were making a consistent mistake, and I knew that it was costing you money.
Sure.
If I pulled you aside and I gave you some advice, and it completely transformed your relationship with that network, which member are you probably going to give the most referrals to in the next 6 months? You,
because you helped me.
Of course, because I helped you. Once again, reciprocity. The fact of the matter is, if I help you, you will help me back. And we have this. If we don't talk about people behind their back, I mean, what is it Oscar Wilde said? The one thing that's worse than being talked about is not being talked about. Is that if you disappear into the ether, if when you give your presentations, if when you show up at your meetings, people just think, there's Paul, he does that. What's he doing? You just become this grey noise that no one is aware of what you're all about. They just pay you no mind. That means that they're not going to try and help you. They're not going to do anything for you. You're not even a blip on their radar. Of course you're going to quit. Why would you stay in an environment like that? It doesn't work for you. What needs to change, the environment worldwide needs to change, is that members need to feel comfortable saying to a fellow member, what you did there was a bit rubbish, and I think that if you did this, it might change. We'll come on to talk about presenting in a while. That's my biggest issue, how I got into what I do in the first place there. But tell a fellow member that they're making a mistake. It's just your opinion, and you have to be prepared to say to someone, look, are you available for some constructive criticism? Are you coachable? And that's another thing. If you come in just thinking, well, I do it this way, this is my way, and if you don't like it, well, meh. Well,
that's not cool.
That's not cool. In any walk, forget about networking, in any walk of life, who on earth wants to deal with someone so closed-minded and believing that they are right and everyone else is wrong? That's not going to work. It doesn't, and in networking, at all. And to just be able to say to that member, Are you open to making a change? I think it would help you. Those
There
are
we
those
go.
words.
I like
think,
that bridge.
yeah.
I like the bridge because it's almost, we have to be, I think, do you agree? We need to be a little careful. Like if you were to say to someone, hey, you know, would you like to try my new diet plan I've been on, right? Like people don't want to hear that they're fat. So they probably likewise, we got to, don't you think like packaging it in a bow a little bit of, you know, I have an idea that may be helpful to you
Of
to help you get
course.
more referrals. Are you open?
Absolutely. I mean, no one has. I mean, the diet plans are wonderful. It reminds me, my wife and I were actually walking down the street. It was yesterday, and some random person with a clipboard just came up to my wife and said, "Do you want to join a gym?" And I just thought, "What are you trying to say, love?" You know, it's like, all right. She was, you know, much better to say, "Hey, we've got a fantastic new 24-hour gym opening in the area. Are you a member of a gym right now?" I'd be like, "Well, no, I'm not. Would you like?" Now, there's a conversation as opposed to, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this thing that will change your shape?" It's like, well, what's wrong with my current shape?
Correct.
So, but you're right in a networking thing to say that if you were to come up to someone and just say, "The way you did that was a bit rubbish," no one's going to respond to that.
No one's going to appreciate that. No.
Yeah, a bit more softly to say, "Hey, look, you know what? I noticed something that you did today, and it made me think that there might be an alternative that might be more useful to you. Are you open to hearing about that?"
Yes.
Why would you say no to that? Why would you? You know, and you don't have to take their advice. Just to be clear, you don't have to take their advice. You might very well think, "Well, hang on a minute, mate. I've seen you at network, and I think you're a bit rubbish." Well,
I know, right? And then they quit.
Well, you know, I mean, but like repels like, so that's really not a problem. You know, there are good networkers. I mean, the best networkers will find a way to help their fellow members fully in the appreciation that karma is a wonderful thing and it will come back to them. If it's sell. Leave me alone. It's noise. You imagine you're in a room of 50 people, which very often you are, and every single one of them is shouting, "Buy my stuff, buy my stuff." The only thing you're going to leave with is a freaking migraine. That's it. There's nothing else in it for you, and you will not stay. If I want to go to a marketplace where people are shouting at me, I will go to Jerusalem. They're marvelous. But, you know, the fact is that it's not what networking is. It's not a market. It's not a living billboard or a walking advert. It is networking. It is relationship building.
Correct.
That's what we need to be focusing on. Build those relationships. Granted, you might sometimes sit down and have a one-to-one with someone, 15 minutes into it, think, this is not a relationship that's really going to be of any value to me. Not being harsh. It's a fact. There are people that just think, you know what, that market's going to clash. But then you've just had a nice conversation. You've learned a little bit about something and someone, and you could go about your day. 15 minutes of your life. It's not time you're going to think, well, there's 15 minutes I'm never getting back. It doesn't work that way. You have to try. I have one-to-ones on an almost daily basis in the hopes of expanding my network. And okay, am I pitching? No. But of course, people are going to ask me what I do, and I'm going to tell them. And if they ultimately go, "Oh, that's interesting. Do you have any spaces available?" Well, yeah, let's talk about that. But if I went in thinking, right, here we go, sales pitch time, that whole conversation, horrible, just horrible. And I don't do it.
I'm with you. Let's talk about, because I think from the videos I see that you share, which you do so well, that one of the things that you really offer people is some original ideas on just how to stand out with your presentation. Could you give us one of your, if you had a top tip for standing out today amongst the crowd, what would it be?
Oh, do I have a top tip? There are so many.
I know.
I don't know. But okay, you know what?
Let's have you back again and talk about more.
Yes, Paul Rose, the series, 100 parts. Join us for episode 38 in How to Become a Better Presenter. Well, you know, I think the last time I counted, I've done like 150 little videos to help people with this stuff because content can be repeated. Why not? For me, I think the biggest tip is that it's not about you. When you are presenting your business, when you're talking about what you do, it's not about you. It's about them. And when I say them, there are two groups of them. The first them is the people you're talking to. Because remember, they're not listening out for what they can buy from you. No one has that listening. But if you offer something that can help their business or their personal life, whatever it might be, then their ears will prick up and they will tune in and think, right, what can they do to help? So that's the first group of them. The second group is the people that you help. And you can actually merge those two by being a storyteller. To talk about, I do this and I'm great and I'm wonderful, now give me money. No, that doesn't work. If you, however, told a story about someone that you helped, and there's a formula that I share for this. 4 letters, 4 magical letters, NPSR. Tell you what they stand for. N stands for name. If you're going to tell a story about a customer, you have to give them a name. Now, if you don't want to give them their real name out because it's a sensitive subject, that's fine. Change the name, but do give them a name, because this has to be a real person. This has to be someone that the audience can relate to, that could actually be thinking, wow, he could be talking about me right now. That's important. Yeah. The P stands for problem. What did this person come to you to solve? What were they struggling from? That doesn't have to be a major problem. If you're a decorator, the problem was that the bedroom was looking a little bit tired. They'd had a leak in the above the kitchen and the ceiling had stains on it. It doesn't have to be a major thing. You know, their car needed servicing. Whatever it might be, it is a problem.
Yes.
Okay, and they've come to you for the solution. That's what the S stands for. What did you do? And it can just be, I painted the ceiling. It doesn't have to be complicated here. Talk about what you did for them. The R is the result. Now, that result can either be the short term, he's got a lovely ceiling, or it could be long term. He was so proud of his ceiling that he actually invited more people round to his house. In fact, he invited a young lady round for dinner, and now they're engaged. You don't, you could actually be grandiose and go crazy, but take these long-term results and do look for the butterfly effect in what you do. I think people probably know what I mean by butterfly effect. Just to explain briefly, that there's a theory, it's based on chaos theory, that a butterfly flaps its wings in Florida and there's a tornado on the other side of the world. That what A least to B least to C. Look for those effects, look for what happened, and live inside of that space. About these amazing changes that you bring about for people and for the world at large, and tell those stories, because 2 things happen. The first is you've got a great story. So everyone will want to listen to it. That's a really good, I like that. And yes, he could be talking about me. Yes, my ceiling could use painting. Yes, my car does need servicing. Yes, my mortgage is too expensive. There are bigger things as well as small things there. But there's another thing. Right before you present, when it's your turn, you think your turn's coming up, just live inside that space in here for a little while. Picture that person. Think about what you did. Think about this incredible change that you brought about in their life, how you were responsible for a life-changing moment. Now, you might say, well, look, servicing the guy's car was not a life-changing moment. Well, what if he got his car serviced so that his car worked that day so he could actually go to a job interview?
Yeah.
His dream job. You don't know. Find out what, but live inside that space and let that result grow and grow and grow, and feel proud of yourself, because you should be proud of yourself. Pride is not a sin. Feel proud of yourself and let that pride grow and grow and grow. And when it's ready to burst out of you, and it will be, well, that's when you present your business. Because then people are going to see that passion, going to see that joy you have for what you do, and just think, now there's someone I need to talk to. That's key. And then you've got people lining up to talk to you.
Love it, love it, love it. I would love to have you back again. Let's plan some more of those top presentation tips. And I think it'd be amazing to have you share some more with the people that I know for sure. Can you tell us, if people are seeing you and they're resonating with you and what you teach, can you tell us some things that you have up and coming that you would love to share with them, and some ways that we can stay in touch? Yes, tell us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there are 2 ways you can actually learn more from me. The first and easiest way is by way of one-to-one coaching. And if you're interested in doing that, just jump on my website, pauljrose.co.uk. I can see you've frantically typing away there, so thank you for that. That'll come back shortly, I'm sure. pauljrose.co.uk, where you can actually learn both about my voiceover work and my presentation skills. So one-to-one coaching is available. If, however, you're thinking, well, that's probably a little bit more of a commitment than I'm looking at making right now, because it's a major commitment. I'll explain why in a moment. But to come on to the second thing, I do also have group workshops. Now, I cap these at 20 people. And the reason I do that is because they are not like any presentation training you might have gone on before. Presentation training is typically some guy at the front with a PowerPoint presentation and a flip chart running through a script that was written 20 years ago, which he didn't write. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. I do things very differently. Mine run almost like a drama and improv workshop. We play a lot of games, have a lot of discussions, but more importantly, we create a very, very safe environment for people to be critical. And that if someone tries out a presentation and you think, no, that you'll feel very comfortable saying, well, I think that didn't work because I work on a very simple rule. There are 3, but the main one, there's no such thing as a bad idea. If someone actually gives a presentation, you think, well, that didn't resonate with me. We want to know why it didn't resonate with you. Not that it was bad, but you know what? That didn't work with me because. And what happens is that people open up. And once they start sharing their understanding of the presentation process, something clicks and their own presentations get stronger. They start thinking, oh, I didn't like that because this, which means I should do that. And almost, it's like a jigsaw puzzle that just starts making itself. The more pieces you put, you straight away, the penny drops. And what happens in the course of it's 3 hours long, this workshop, and most of it's you talking, not me. 3 hours. It tends to actually bleed into 4 because people don't want to leave, and I don't make them. We have too much fun, and there's also there's networking going on as well. Is that people are helping each other out, and some people actually after they leave it just think, you know what, I'd like a little bit more coaching. Can we talk about the program? Sure, we can talk about that. But one thing I make very, very clear, and I'm sure everyone's got experience of this. You've all gone to a webinar or you booked online, come to this webinar and learn how to, no. And you go along and the only thing you learn for the next 45 minutes is, unless you're prepared to part with thousands and thousands of dollars, you're not really going to learn anything at all. I don't do that. I know that the majority of webinars and courses, it's 50% content and 50% upsell. I hate that. I really, really hate that. I will make a guarantee right now. It's 99.5% content and 0.5% upsell. I will mention at the, oops, you can knock my microphone there. I will mention at the beginning that I provide coaching, and I'll mention it at the end, and that will be it. There's nothing else in between. I want content. We have fun. But what I see when I do my workshops, Terilee, and I love this, is people coming in, and I say, well, let's do what you got, because of course we want to see what we're working with there. People staring at their shoes and mumbling through a presentation. And the only real vibe they're putting out there is not, I love my business. But what they're saying is, I've been asked to talk about my business and I really hate doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 hours later, they are glowing. They are excited. They want to share. They're itching to get to their next networking meeting because they want to try this stuff out. And that passion bleeds over, not just in their networking, but in the way they speak to their customers, in the way they relate to their family. It is absolutely transformative. Now, if people are getting excited about the idea of thinking, hell, I want some of that, I'm going to up the ante because I've got 3 workshops left this week. Now, one of them is this afternoon. That's kind of short notice. It's 5 p.m. UK time, so for you, middle of the night. But I can never keep up with your time frame. But there's one at 5. There's another one on Thursday, and there's another one on Saturday. And this week they are half price. Nice. I've actually dropped the price by 50%. The marketing thought behind that is that most people's energy bills, certainly mine, most people's energy bills at the 1st of April went up by about 50%. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if the energy that I provide you goes down by the same amount? So it's a marketing ploy. I make no bones about it. But normally it's a $500 workshop. I'm translating in US here now. I think it's about roughly works out just over half. It's about 269 at the moment. In English pounds, it's 195. If you go to pauljrose.co.uk and navigate through to Networkers Workshops, you will see a series of buttons where you can choose the one you want to get on. You can book on very, very last minute. I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather know what numbers we're working with ahead of schedule, but it would be lovely to see. And people are coming in from all over the world. So it's also a global networking event. You might meet your next best customer or business partner or associate in these workshops. So come on down.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. So everyone, if you are resonating with Paul, find him on social media. Find him at pauljrose.co.uk. check out these workshops, and Paul will love to have you back again and talk some more about
I'd be delighted
some of your best presentation strategies that you have. So Paul, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
One of my favorite quotes when it comes to networking is, when you figure out what it is that you want to ask for, do it with boldness, confidence, and certainty. That's Jack Canfield. Everyone, wishing you a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time at the next edition of Let's Talk Networking. Bye, everyone. Bye, Paul. Thank you.
Bye.